Hello everybody, my name is Kimberlyn Lum, and today I'm going to be giving an informative speech about the life of Marsha P. Johnson. She dared to be different in a time where it wasn't accepted. She started riots and uproars. She was the face of the LGBTQ movement, and I bet half of you don't even know her name. Say it with me. Marsha P. Johnson. Marsha P. Johnson. Marsha P. Johnson. I first learned about this brave woman on a documentary on Netflix. It was pertaining to her life, and it's called The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson. And I was enthralled from that very moment. So I had to dive deeper and research, and that's how I found out how much this lady has accomplished in her short time on Earth. And let me tell you, it's a lot. In this speech, I'm going to inform you guys, my audience, how Marsha was the key player in bringing light and awareness to the LGBT community, especially Black trans women and women of color. Marsha played a huge role in the 1969 Stonewall riots and was even arrested for her part in the riot. She started houses to get trans children and young adults off the street, and she was a longtime AIDS activist working with many organizations, one being ACT UP. My first main point. It started way before 1969, but that's when everything took off for Marsha. Marsha was arrested in 1969 at the Stonewall Inn, a locally known gay club, after she and many other LGBTQ members became tired of being constantly harassed by the police. After their hangout had been raided by the police, instead of leaving as they all had been ordered, they all gathered outside, and that's when all hell broke loose. Bottles were thrown, and they even attempted to break into the building and burn it down. SWAT and the RIGHT team had to be called, and she was arrested early that morning for her part, which was listed as throwing glass bottles and assaulting officers. This was a catalyst for the LGBTQ rights movement in New York. Many organizations were shortly started after that, such as GLAAD, which stands for Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, and PFLAG, which stands for Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. My second main point. After that, she knew she had to continue on and make a change. Marsha and her longtime friend Sylvia Rivera, who was also a trans woman of color, were children themselves when they became homeless on the streets of New York City, and they had to do unimaginable things to survive, which she referred to as hustling. Together, they founded STAR, which stands for Street Transient Activist Revolutionaries, and this was a place where members of the LGBTQ community could feel safe and united, and they got to have a place they could call home. Their first house was actually in the back of a truck, and this didn't last long for many reasons. And their next house was an old rundown building that together they renovated and got to call home for 8 months, until unfortunately they ran out of money and could no longer pay for rent, which eventually led to them being evicted. And last but not least, she was an activist for AIDS, which was rampant at the time, especially in New York. She was good friends with the artist Andy Warhol and even lived with him at some points in her life. And she was the muse for a few of his art pieces, one being his Ladies and Gentlemen series. In 1987, he passed away from complications after surgery due to AIDS, which it took a huge toll on her and made her become even a stronger activist for AIDS. In 1990, she herself contracted HIV. She spoke about it publicly in hopes of ending the stigma. She stated that she did not want anybody to be afraid of those who had the disease, and there's much about it that's not known, and it's not a death sentence. In conclusion, Marsha P. Johnson made a lasting impact when it came to the regards of the LGBT community and their rights. She participated in riots and uproars. She started homes and organizations for her community to provide a loving space. And she spoke about and spread information regarding HIV and AIDS to end the horrible stigma it had. She truly shined so much light on the LGBT community in a time when it was needed most. Sadly, her body was found in the Hudson River in 1992. After many years, it was ruled a suicide due to her mental health issues. But in 2012, her case was finally reopened, and although it's still being investigated, it's theorized that she was actually killed for standing up and being so outspoken about her rights as a beautiful Black trans woman, as well as many others. So, in conclusion, I think we should all remember Marsha P. Johnson for everything she did for the LGBT community. And that's it. Thank you.